Proud's not a word you could use. I think most parents would say proud doesn't do it justice. Because I don't think I could have done it. So I think most parents would say that I couldn't imagine the things he had to do. So brave, proud, small words. Paul always wanted to go in the military from 8 years old, and then at about 16, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was going to go in.
He was going to go in the army, and we said, he's a little bit young, do you want to have a bit of life experience before you go in? He didn't join the Marines till he was 18. One of his best friends had joined the Marines, and he spoke to him and said, you want to come into the Marines because it is tough. Anything that was tough, Paul would be up for the challenge. So he went down, had his first initial tryout, and decided that's what he wanted to do. When Paul passed his commando course, a bit of trepidation on my part. I don't know about Lynn, but I was proud that he passed because it's a very, very tough course.
Paul's the youngest of my two siblings, and as young kids we fought a lot. And me being the oldest and generally the one in charge of them, and him being the youngest and the most rebellious. We were always ones that would loggerheads with each other, we'd get in arguments. But no, he's my brother, I loved him.
Paul had the experience because he was out in Afghan first time, so I think because a lot of the lads he was with have never been out there, he didn't get told, didn't get asked. He volunteered to basically finding IEDs so the lads didn't get injured. And that's one of the proudest things I can think of, that every time he went out, he always got the lads back to base, back safe. And you know, it's very, very proud of that. Paul never really told his parents exactly what he was doing and how dangerous it was, even though we know it's dangerous. When we found out about Paul, they send uniformed Marines and a priest, and they didn't have to knock on the door. Our house faces onto the road, and I did see them getting out, and somebody ripped my heart out because I knew.
I knew it was always a possibility, but that doesn't really set you up for dealing with the aftermath of it. And it's taken a few years to really come to terms with it, and it's been hard. There's moments where I think I should have been there for him, but obviously it can't be. They're in the military, they're thousands of miles away.
In the time Paul was killed, the immediate 18 months, we had quite a lot of good support from the Royal Marines, and after 18 months, you're on your own. If neglect is a strong word, it can sum up what a lot of families feel, is that after the cameras have stopped rolling, after the newspapers don't want the news anymore, and there's new news, that you're left to your own devices. Forces Support is a charity outside of the military charities, so it does stuff that military charities wouldn't do. We were going to do the back garden before he was killed, and then we just didn't have the heart to do anything with the back garden, until Bill came along. Without their help in doing the garden, which was a big stumbling block for us because that's something we kept seeing, and it just gets a bit down. It's just highlighted that we need to slightly move on, and what they've done has helped us in doing that. It's a lot easier for Lynn to go out and do her gardening.
Before it was all mossy grass, weren't it, in the middle?
Yeah, it was just not so much she could really get her hands into and feel proud to do. It give you It's give you something to go out in the garden for now, isn't it?
Yeah, proud of it now. It's really nice now. It's nice to go out and sit out.
One of the highlights for me is the patio area, because that's where Paul used to like having a drink, and we used to eat out there, as well as the arbour area. Lets us look back on the house and think about Paul a lot more, and especially with the plaque that they've put in. That really is special, with the words that they've put on for us. We're in Paul's room. It's as he left it when he went to Afghanistan for the second time. The only things that are different are the things we've put onto his bed and the things we brought back from 40 Commando after we went to pick his things up. This one's Paul's general day beret that he would carry with him and wear every day basis, and this one would be the one that he would be Sunday best one, I would have thought. The dress cap is Paul's, he would use with his blues, and this was on his coffin when he was carried into church and out of church. This bottle of port was left on Paul's grave by one of his commando comrades who was serving with him in 40. Paul had a bet with him that he wouldn't be able to fire a javelin off, and to his amazement he did fire one off, and he's put on here, "Paul, you're missed very much. You owe me 50 quid, 'cause I got a javelin down. Ha ha. Rest in peace, Royal. Love, Twiggy." If I could just tell you one little story.
Please, yeah.
He rang us from Afghanistan one night, and we were talking to him, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we could hear gunfire and RPGs rounds being fired. Paul went, "Just hang on a minute, Dad. Are they firing at us?" "No." Right. Matter of factly, straight back on the phone to me. I was just awestruck.